Hello, welcome to Asia Europe TV. I'm Aliyah Senderji, and we're at the Marriott Hotel in Liverpool with one of UK's leading auctioneers, Andrew Binstock. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure.
How are you?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, feeling good.
How do you feel being in Liverpool?
I come up to Liverpool all the time, so this is my second city.
Really?
In fact, I started auctioning in Liverpool before I started auctioning in London. So Liverpool came first, and London, the auction scene for me down there, came second. So yeah, I feel very at home here.
Are you originally from Liverpool?
No, I'm from London. But when I started out auctioning, I was working as a junior in a London auction house.
Okay.
And then what happened was I left that company and I got introduced to James Kirsch, who is a chap that runs this particular auction house that we're in today.
Okay.
And he hired me as his auctioneer, and from that everything sort of developed from there. So basically that was like my start, and then it kind of grew from that moment forward. But Liverpool was where the acorn seed was dropped, basically.
How long have you been doing it for?
Okay, so I've been auctioning in the property world for about 5 years now.
Okay.
I've been doing charity auctions earlier than that, but I started doing this professionally in the property industry back in sort of beginning of 2006, sort of late 2005. So yeah, it's been going well.
Do you go anywhere else in England, or mostly Liverpool and
No,
London?
I do 7 auctions a year here up in Liverpool.
Okay.
I have a firm that I run down in London, and we do 6 auctions a year down there.
Okay.
And I've actually just been hired by another company now to do all their auctions in a place called Horsham in Surrey. So from next year onwards, we'll be looking at probably doing about 18 to 20 property auctions a year.
Wow.
And that's only just the property side of it. Everything else seems to have sort of snowballed as well. Doing quite a few corporate things and some charity events, and yeah, I spend a lot of my time on the rostrum basically now, a lot of time.
And then a lot of time on the train as well.
A lot of time on the train, you're so right, yeah. The train I'm not so worried about, it's the car when you get stuck, and that's the pain. But yeah, I'm travelling a lot that way, yeah.
So the first time I met you was at Eva Longoria's
Yeah,
function
that's so
in London.
true.
And then again at a property auction.
Yes.
And you also did AfriKids fashion show. So you
I
just
did,
seem to be
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, this year's been crazy actually.
Yeah.
2010, I mean, we've done 13 property auctions.
Okay.
And about another 7 or 8 big high-profile charity dues.
Wow.
Make-A-Wish UK, I'm now sort of on their phone call list, if you like. So that was one of the
That's great.
ones.
That's great.
Deutsche Bank is now, they've done a couple of events. One at the Madame Tussauds, which was fantastic. They hired the whole thing out. They're a very, very select crowd. Okay. Hundreds and hundreds. I think we raised about £1 million that night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Done the Lord Mayor of Liverpool. We did the Superland Bananas. We've done...
I'm
trying to think of it all actually. We've done so many. It's been it's been mental actually. We've done a lot.
So what's been your favorite of all of them?
Superland Bananas was epic.
Was it?
Yeah, that was absolutely epic. Basically, that was 4 hours of solid auctioning, no dinner, no nothing, which is quite unusual. Normally there's a dinner. This was literally turn up, speak solidly, no break, no stopping for breath, no nothing. 4 straight hours. I think we sold 80 or 90 giant lamb bananas, all in different colours.
So people are seriously buying
God,
lamb banana?
Yeah. We had, I mean, in from the celebrity world, there were tons of people down there.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name names, but people from Big Brother, footballers, we had TV people.
Wow.
It was very well attended.
Okay.
They
So
were
how big is big?
Oh, they were spending disgusting sums of money on basically chunks of cardboard or whatever these things were made
Wow.
from. Amazing though, the money went to a fantastic cause. Some of these were going for 25 grand a pop.
Oh geez.
Yeah, I mean, this was crazy. And then I realised that there was a lot to be done with this sort of charity thing. Oh, I then got roped into Barnet Football Club. I do a lot of their things. But the charity auction world is a particularly enjoyable night because everything always sells.
Right.
Unlike a property auction where you're under very strict pressure to hit reserves and targets.
Exactly.
In charity, it's like anything goes basically. You just go for it. Hopefully they're generous people in the room. My job is just to talk as quick as I can, get the bids going, keep the rhythm going, and just make sure that everyone's having a good time, enjoying the show, and bidding lots of money. which
I
is a
have
little
to
bit different to
admit,
this.
Andrew, you're very entertaining.
Thank you.
Honestly, I would come here just for the show.
That's good,
Does
that's
everyone
good.
have their own style, or is that something you
Yeah.
just develop as you go
No,
along?
everyone has their own style, but I am probably, I think, from what I understand from a lot of my clients, I'm by far and away the most energetic,
Very.
loud, and fast talking.
But that
which is
keeps the
good
crowd
for
going, right?
absolutely. Oh God, who wants to go and listen to a 75-year-old guy boring
Honestly, I wouldn't.
the audience to death? No, you want to go. You want to listen. I've been to auctions as a person in the audience.
Okay.
And you've got to appreciate in an auction, the time doesn't always run spot on. So if you're only interested in, say, lot 43,
Right.
and when you turn up at the room, it's only lot 12, you've got to sit through 30 odd lots.
Exactly.
That is lethal. If you've got to sit through 30 lots and there's a guy talking very slowly and monotonously and boring. So of course I took it upon myself to make that time frame as interesting as you can. I mean, obviously I'm restricted. We're talking about property here.
Exactly.
But, the idea is to try and make people who are also experiencing it for the first time.
Right.
I want them to enjoy it. So they think, oh, what a good day out that was. And what's more, the guy got great money for that particular seller, so I'm now going to give him mine. So it's not just, it's all, you've got to think of the long term, you're winning clients and that kind of thing as well.
Exactly. So you enjoy it.
Love it, yeah.
Love
I
it.
wouldn't do it otherwise. Yeah.
Did you go to a school to kind of learn about
No.
it, or how do you just kind of?
That is about the 50 millionth time I've been asked that question. There is
Yeah.
no qualification to stand up, talk quickly, confidently, and not mess it up.
Exactly.
And believe me, it's very easy to mess it up.
Yeah, it is.
'Cause if
I've
you-
tried. I can't do it.
If you go over reserve, you're committing some major crimes in the property auction industry. So while you have to engage in the audience, you have to speak as quick as you can, you're trying to count, you're trying to watch the bids. Sometimes, don't quote me on this, you have to invent bids to try and stimulate some activity.
Well, it
You
works.
and you have to do that as convincingly as you can.
Right.
So I've spent many times over the last 5 years having entire conversations with empty chairs, light switches,
That's great.
friends of mine who are wondering why I'm talking to
The
them.
phone.
Absolutely. So, this is part of the tricks of being a good auctioneer.
Okay.
And this is why the whole world that watches an auction thinks anyone can do that.
Exactly.
Promise you, there is a minute amount of people that can do it properly. Anyone can stand up and talk loudly and just shout numbers back and forth.
Exactly.
But the amount of times I've seen auctioneers who have gone beyond the reserve price and then suddenly panicked and thought, oh my God, what have I done? Or they make it so obvious when they're having an imaginary these are the skills that you either got it or you haven't.
Exactly. Any embarrassing moments?
Embarrassing moments, they're not embarrassing so much. What you do often get is people who are flinching, waving at a friend,
Right.
little kids. Auctions now is a very public place. It used to be the domain of just builders and developers and sort of, guys in the in this sort of select club of, now anyone can come to an auction, and we do get families, and you get kids crying, and you get shouting, and I'll take that as a bid. And what happens is, of course, you use that as a little opportunity to make light and make a light moment. So not embarrassing, but it is fun when someone flinches or waves at a friend, and I take that as a bid, and then they like suddenly have a massive panic attack.
No,
No, that wasn't me. And then you draw. So. I know what I'm doing, and obviously I'm not really taking that bid, and we enjoy that moment. But I try and do as much of that kind of stuff as I can.
Okay.
Probably more embarrassing for them than me.
Right.
And then suddenly they go
kinda
up the high.
high.
Yeah, all that. Exactly.
Do you travel internationally at all, or hold shows abroad?
No, I have been asked to set up auction houses in Cyprus and Portugal.
Okay.
But it didn't work for me financially, and I didn't think that the market was right for that. I mean, it's hard enough being an expert in just your own town, let alone going
Right.
nationwide like we do in London, for example, to start trying to learn the property laws of the Portuguese market, the Cypriot market. Listen, if it was right to do so, I'd study and I'd learn it. But the opportunities we've had so far have been nice ideas, but I've not thought that there's been proper mileage in actually taking it to a serious level where we go and set up an office out in those countries.
You're already busy enough in England.
Hey, we're busy enough, and to be honest, will take a lot of manpower. It's expensive. Running an auction is a costly business. When it's done properly, the benefits are great.
Right.
But to do it half-heartedly, you'll throw a lot of money at it and get little back. It's just not a worthwhile exercise.
So do you ever get a sore throat after?
Yeah, well, I've just you've caught me after a big one, so I'm struggling to catch myself. No, it's when I did the Superland Bananas, I lost my voice for a day, and in fact, when I was on the train home after that, I've never felt so mentally drained and exhausted. Positively, because we'd sold hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of gear.
Even the crowd must have been pretty
Amazing,
crazy.
lots
yeah.
of adulation. Yeah, it was fun, but it takes it out of you. Something like this is routine for me now. So, a couple of glasses of water, I'm straight on to the next one. In fact, we got another one in 2 days' time. So, you don't get a chance to dwell too long
It's
on the
just
one.
go,
Absolutely,
go.
that's it. That's the nature of the auction world. The minute one finishes, the new cycle starts.
Jeez. So do you have a lot coming up for next year?
Yeah, we'll do another 13 here
Okay.
as Sutton Kirsch and Sutton Kirsch Binstock.
Okay.
We'll then do, like I say, I've just taken on a role within another auction company. I'm literally the hired help. There's no day to day, but that will mean that I'll now be, conducting roughly 20 auctions.
Jeez.
Just property, and plus I get a few random one-offs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Tell us more about Sutton Kirsch Binstock.
So this is the London offshoot of where we are today.
Okay.
So we're here in the Marriott in Liverpool, and this is Sutton Kirsch. When I started auctioning here, very quickly it was decided that there'd be a potential lucrative market in opening up a Sutton Kirsch branch down in London.
Okay.
And so that's what we did. And we just tagged my name on it because I was the guy running the whole show, and it sort of kind of
It's a good thing they took you on.
that would have looked a bit silly,
You add a
hadn't
lot.
they?
I think you add a lot.
Yeah, well, that's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Well, it's important. I always felt that when I called companies, and if the company's got a name in it, and then you're talking to a person with that same surname, you think, oh, I'm being treated by the guy at the top. It's nice. You get a feeling of gravitas, a sort of, oh, wow, the top guy's taking the time out to speak to me. So, we didn't need my name in it so much, but we thought it was a sensible thing to do, as I was going to be on the phone quite a lot.
Right,
So that was the story behind the name getting slightly extended down in London, but it's worked
Well,
okay.
it works.
It works.
It
It's
works.
fine. Yeah.
So any A-list parties coming up pretty soon that you're looking forward to?
Do you know what? It's tragic. I don't get invited to A-list parties. It's wrong. It's awful. I got invited to an after party at the Eva Longoria one.
Eva Longoria. That was fun though.
But we were staying at the Dorchester.
Oh.
And so we juggled. Do we want to leave this amazing hotel we're at now and lose some of the minutes that we could spend there,
Exactly.
and substitute it for something else? And we kind of took the let's just enjoy the Dorchester vibe for as long as we can.
Well, you did great.
Thank you.
You did great.
Yeah, it was a nice
of all
evening.
the ones I've been to, you've honestly done amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, hopefully you'll come to some more,
I will.
and that role will
definitely.
continue.
Absolutely. I got to come back to London now.
Yes.
It's time
yeah.
to come back there and see one of the shows out there.
It's busy down there.
When you do property auctions out in London, are the prices different compared to in Liverpool?
Yeah, very much.
Significantly
Oh my God,
different?
yeah. You got to appreciate that up here, a traditional house.
Yeah.
You can buy a house, nothing wrong with it, 40, 50,000 pounds.
Right.
You wouldn't buy the front door of most of the properties in London for 40 or 50,000 pounds.
Wow.
You might get a garage in Kilburn High Road or something, which you would, and that's genuine. I mean, that is exactly the sort of money, where parking's at it's just a world apart. It's the same in the sense that the people are all the same, but you just jump 2 hours on the train and the entire valuation of a like-for-like building. Yeah, you pick it up and you drop it down in, Sloane Square. You just put 4 noughts on the end. This is it. This is why.
It's very different in London compared to Liverpool.
This is why you get so many foreign investors in London.
Exactly.
All the oligarchs, all the big fish, they all want to buy in London. This is
But
crazy.
London's great.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
London is
there's
great.
developments in London where one flat, 15 million quid.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Hyde Park. So it's called One Hyde Park. I mean, these are...
Hyde Park.
Yeah. There's some big... It's like no other. Nowhere else. I study a lot of the results of all the auctioneers nationwide and Leeds, wherever. All the sort of cities outside of London, it's kind of standardised. In London, just go crazy.
Right.
But that also has a massive negative connotation as well. Because what happens is vendors then get very unrealistic expectations of what they think their flat, house, whatever it is worth.
Right.
Whereas in other cities in the country, it's, you've got very direct comparables. This one sold for this one, so yours 3 doors. So it's easier to value stuff. It's easier to convince a vendor where the reserve price should be.
Yeah.
In London, you get buyers telling you there's a recession on, sellers telling you it's wonderful and everything's fantastic, and this is why London auctions have so much. There's so much more goes into to make the results stack up, because you've got to work vendors that much harder. Up here, the guy's prepared to sell it at 40, you take it on. If it's not, you don't.
Exactly,
in London, there's a much more. Let's see how it plays out. We'll see how it goes, and then you sort of have to kind of
more to think about out in London.
Yeah, and you sort of set reserves maybe nearer the auction day rather than at the beginning, just because you're not really sure yourself what something's going to go for. There's a lot more variable issues that need to be taken into account.
So Andrew, if anybody wants to get a hold of you or hire you out, what's the best way of going about doing that?
Basically, if you just go to my website, which is andrewbinstock.co.uk, you can speak to Asia Europe and book me.
Sounds great. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me.
Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next time.
See you soon.
I'm Aliyah Senderji. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.